Welcome back to Soulful Academics, where I teach you guys how to budget, save, and invest. Go to Soulful Academics so you can start your free budget today so you can build generational wealth. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you're new to the channel, you're going to be back here again because you're definitely going to like the next video. We see the market's currently still in greed with a 66 out of 100. And we got the market turned back up to bull rally mode, okay? We got more room to go. We got to push to extreme greed in the markets. That's when we see all-time highs. We see new highs happen in the last 3 months. But we still have room to go, guys. Man, these ads. I like the way that the market was in extreme fear these last 6 months, and now we got to push back up, having some correction as well. So if we might push back down or neutral, that'll be a good state for you guys to hop back in if you missed this whole rally these last few months in April and May. And I'll keep paying attention to what this fear and greed is looking like. We probably won't just push straight into extreme greed without having a good correction like how we had this month. And I know we had to make a video on Bitcoin's holiday, guys. Bitcoin PT days today, as we've seen Bitcoin hit all-time high today, $111,000 today. And we've seen that every time Bitcoin has its pizza day or its holiday where Bitcoin was gave to somebody for some pizza, he gave about 10,000 Bitcoin for somebody to order him some pizza. That would now be worth $1 billion right now. And this is just some historical for Bitcoin and its investors, as we see that May 22nd is a holiday for Bitcoin investors. Let me know if you guys bought down here at $80,000 to $74,000 range in Soulful Academics. Make sure you comment down here. Shout out to people who've been dollar cost averaging these last 5 to 6 months. And even 100,000 right now is still a good price to keep dollar cost averaging, just because Bitcoin is going to reach 150,000 this year. So if we buy around 111,000 to 100,000 up here high, we got at least 40 more thousand to go. So you can get at least a 36 to 40% return if you can buy right now between 120 to 111,000. So that's because we buy high doesn't mean we can not sell it for higher. Bitcoin is one of those that pushes higher, and it pushes people out of investing into it just because the price of what it's looking like. People are scared to invest into Bitcoin just because the price of it's so high and inflated. That doesn't make them have enough capital for them to think they have to afford the whole Bitcoin. Bitcoin was made for investors to go against the monetary policy of the dollar getting printed, and then fiat making investors be ahead of inflation and not behind inflation the more the dollar gets printed. So whenever we get Bitcoin and then there's a network on the blockchain, and every time that a Bitcoin transaction is made, miners get paid in Bitcoin. So every 3.5 years is whenever Bitcoin hashing gets decreased, and the supply of the Bitcoin is going to get less and less over time. And this is going to cause a short squeeze in the price of Bitcoin. So right now we see Bitcoin worth 111,000. In the next 10 to 20 years, there won't be able more Bitcoin on the network for people to buy that's in the product supply. It's just going to have to be bought and sold within everybody who owns Bitcoin at that point. So this is what caused scarcity. We know whenever something is scarce, there's more value in it. That's because the dollar is the same thing. People think the dollar is scarce, but in reality, the dollar is not scarce just because the government can go ahead and print $350 billions so you can get PPP loans and start your business and then go to jail just because you don't got a real business and get fraud. We've seen that happen in COVID. The government had $350 of money so he can print into the economy so it can stimulate the economy, more businesses, and we're seeing people take advantage of that. So that's the thing about the dollar. The dollar just can come up, people can come up and print it just like that, just because any innovation or any pandemic or any problem in the economy, there can be an excuse to print the dollar anytime. And Bitcoin, you can't do that. It's not somebody that's controlled in it, middleman. It's not a person or entity that can go ahead, okay, 21 million Bitcoins right now. I'm going to go ahead and make 20 more million Bitcoins just because we're in a huge economic crisis right now. We're about to go to war with China or something. Boom. They can't do that just because the person that the way they made Bitcoin and the way it was made in the structure, it can't be manipulated. So everything has to do with economic factors whenever it comes to Bitcoin. Bitcoin was made just because after 2008 crisis and the banks failed and the housing market collapse, that was made as a retaliation of people getting mad and like, okay, we can't lean on this government for any financial assistance or whenever we put our money into the government and trust this system. Bitcoin was made so people can have the financial independence to use economic stability and how economic state is going right now, and they can invest into it so they can be and stay ahead of inflation. All right. Now, whenever we think about Bitcoin and how it's used, it's just used like basic technology, a P2P network. Okay, so we got a sender and then we have a receiver. Okay, and those two are only able to communicate to each other without other people anonymously staying in the middle of those two communicating. Okay, whenever you're in the bank system and you send money to your friend, there's a person that sends the money, and then there's a person that in the middle that confirms that transaction or entity, which would be Chase. They're going to confirm that transaction in their system and put it in their database, okay, and going to confirm the first and last name of this person is who they are, and then another person, the first and last name is who they are, and that's how you receive your money in your bank account, okay? But with Bitcoin, two people are sending money from one person's wallet address, which is a private key, and then it's a public key that's on the network of Bitcoin blockchain, and then the other person has a public key as well. So that's how they're able to send that money to the other person on the blockchain. Okay, now this is different too compared to the banking system, just because those two are only ways to send money, and there's no middleman confirming it. The only thing that confirms this transaction is called a ledger. A ledger is what a person or entity, a computer or node that confirms and solves an algorithm for a Bitcoin transaction, and then they add it to the blockchain, and that's what adds more blocks to the network. So the more transactions that are made on a network, the more it had to be confirmed into blocks, and that's how you get your Bitcoin on the blockchain network, is because someone is confirming a transaction on the blockchain network. But it's not a someone, it's actually a computer or node or ledger. Compared to the banks, it's actually a middleman. They have control of what's going on whenever you send payments and stuff like that. Something can happen with those banks, and they don't have to actually have control too much on the monetary system. That being said, I do see Bitcoin surpassing this all-time high. We stuck near the highest where we was recently in December. And then once we know that Bitcoin is already near its high, it has to break out to a new higher. So now that we see interest rates going to drop in June, we're estimating that they're going to be a 0.25 cut in June, and we waiting on this interest rates. We've been waiting 6 months. Okay, the Fed said there's going to be 2 rates to drop this year, and as an investor, you got to really anticipate when it's going to happen. They don't tell us this stuff. People up there that's already up in high politics and up in there in the high corporations, they already know when interest rates are dropping. Okay, people like us that work normal jobs, normal people, we don't really know these things unless we use data analysis and then what we see on charts and what we get from using our research. Okay, now I'm putting 2 and 2 together that rates could drop in June next month. And now, what does that mean for me and you? That means that the markets continue to rally with this greedy state that it is in with buyers, and we're going to see higher highs, especially with Bitcoin. Whenever price passes its recent high, it must push higher and make a new high. So now we're going to continue watching Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for the rest of the summer, and we're going to see a summer rally, and what can spark it is a rate drop. Whenever rates cut, we see prices start to take off, guys. So now we're seeing how markets really react to economic data, and once we seeing that the rates really start to play an effect, I want you guys to pay attention to these key stocks that we about to talk about. But first, before we dive into the stocks, let's talk about Ethereum. Ethereum is back at 2,700. We've seen Ethereum and cryptocurrency have a little minor dip, but actually they've been outpacing regular stocks these last few weeks because it's supposed to be a cool off week for the markets. Okay, we had 4 straight weeks of gains, and every time we have a gains like that consistently, it has to be a big drop. But crypto had its drop. It wasn't a major drop because people who bought it in early, they secured their price. But we've seen a nice little correction for people who would have missed the whole rally that took off the last 4 weeks. And that was a good time to get in. The dollar cost average but we still right now it's a great price to buy Ethereum as we sit at 2,700, and it was recently at 4,500 in December. I mean, if we can get in now, we can get at least a 36% to 50% return as we push back higher than what we were recently in the last 2 or 3 months, and then we continue buying dollar cost averaging so we can go ahead and get a profit from our initial investment. And anything below 3,000, anything below 4,000 is a good for Ethereum. So right now, price is flashing for us to get in before we start to take off this huge momentum that we started in May. And I know over here we don't show favoritism on to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the father of these little cryptocurrencies. So Solana is one of those two. That's one of those coins that was made after Ethereum and Bitcoin, and it's actually one that I see has real efficient use due to the speed of the decentralized apps for its developers. Ethereum is actually a nice one too that actually provides an ecosystem for creative centralized apps. And now we see Solana is currently at $184, and it's currently down at least 50% now. I mean, we touched $300 in Solana this year in January, and I continue seeing that Solana is always rebounding quick from a huge correction, and it just moves as fast as Bitcoin but at a lower price. So that's why I see investors pour money into Solana. Solana is currently down at least 40%, and we got it down $116 from its all-time high. If we can buy in dollar cost average in Solana right now, man, I think Doge finna start taking off again as too as well. We're back at 25 cents, and this correction is just nice. It looks just like Bitcoin, but Bitcoin already passed near its all-time high. So whenever we talk about corrections, we want to think about which one has the opportunity to go back near its all-time high the quickest. We know they're going to go back past its all-time high, but which coin or which crypto is going to do it the quickest? That's because we want a nice return off investment in a nice reasonable amount of time, right? Okay, these other coins like Doge and Solana, they don't have as much market cap compared to Bitcoin, so therefore it'll take longer. But this still is a good coin to get your investment on, just because it's gonna go back to 50 to 60 cents at the end of this year, okay? And it's just one of those memes. Once it starts taking off, then it's too late for you to buy it because you're just gonna buy it higher. This is the one you gotta catch while it's in this correction right now. And you guys got some time right now. 25 cents is not a bad buy for Dogecoin. And that's just for my meme investors, people that like to diversify them and really get a quick momentum gain off a coin that's doesn't have too much value in it, or it has too much supply of, but you're just really trying to make a good return off investment. And I know MSTR had this nice little run up this May month. MSTR has really been choppy these last few days though. I don't like how these last few days has been very choppy. Like, price is not really moving higher or low, as it's been staying in the range. So that could be a sign that MSTR can have a huge breakout towards upside in the next few days or weeks, or we can have a huge drop in MSTR. But the way Bitcoin is moving, the thing about MSTR, since it buys Bitcoin periodically and it makes strategic investments in Bitcoin, MSTR is protected from huge downswings just because the proximity of its funds and its assets in Bitcoin can help this company from huge risk, okay? And it also can add a risk to this company. If Bitcoin has a huge crash, then that can affect this company as well. But the way Bitcoin is just reaching new all-time highs, MSTR is safe from huge drops. And that's why investors pour money into MSTR, just because instead of buying Bitcoin directly, they can buy MSTR, the stock, and leverage it with options and stocks, ETFs, and different ways. Okay, and now MSTR is very volatile, but lately we just gotta observe MSTR and maybe take advantage of it at $400 before it runs up to $500. Man, I've been telling you guys about Coinbase these last 3 months, man. Coinbase fell down here in my past videos. I was telling you guys the average down here to $147, and once we touched 147, price was going to go back down below that. Okay, and now we've seen Coinbase touch $271 this week, and the Coinbase is really outperforming this MSTR, and it was lagging behind MSTR for a good week. So we haven't seen Coinbase really break out that $200 range until May 7th. And once Coinbase announced that it's getting added to the S&P 500, we just seen Coinbase shoot up $20 a day, $10 a day consistently every day, and that's good gains that adds up. I mean, we've seen that Coinbase was up 5% today. It's up $13, and that's huge returns as an investor for a person who uses options or person who has a lot of capital or shares. This starts to multiply, and this is what changes lives. You get inside Coinbase right here, it's still a good buy. As you see, it's 25% down, and it's still $86 down from its all-time high. And I do see Coinbase touching $400 near this bull cycle. So we got more room to run up with Coinbase. If you guys start dollar cost averaging right now, as Bitcoin starts to hit all-time highs, Coinbase is still a great buy. And these leaps right here, when I called the option down at $200, it was worth about $3,500 to $4,000. Now we see an option for Coinbase for that expiration date around January 2026 is worth about $8,000 to $9,000 now. Okay, it already shot up 126%. So that's the good thing about getting in these plays early, guys. Checking out these videos, make sure you got your post notifications on so I can give you guys analysis on these stocks. And you don't got to do as much research. Just sit down, get your water ready, and then get your investments ready so you can buy. Okay, we wait for opportunities like this whenever markets crash and have this huge sell-off, these drastic sell-offs, these 50% dips. If you're not going to be ready for the markets to crash 50% or your stocks to be down 50% in your portfolio, or you lost 50% of your initial investment, you shouldn't even be discussing stocks or watching these videos. If you're not ready to lose 50% of your investment, then don't even bother touching stocks, because you're going to be down those type of numbers sometimes. But are you going to be patient enough for that rebound to come? Are you going to be patient enough to buy when that comes? How are you going to react to whenever you're down or you're uncomfortable? This is what makes an investor emotional intelligence. This is what builds their character. Okay, guys? Let's go on to the next one. I know you guys going to think about, I'm talking about a lot of memes. Lately, I've been seeing a huge season of altcoins and meme stocks or coins. Okay, guys, y'all gotta notice these trends. Whenever it's time for these memes to come, guys, you can't miss. Literally, memes and these altcoin seasons are ones that you don't want to miss the train whenever it's the right time. People get so lost in chasing the train, but whenever, instead of them getting patient for the train to come to them, they missed out the whole opportunity. Now I guess because they was chasing the train too long, now they ain't got enough left to be ready for them when the train comes. Okay, now the train is coming. GameStop, AMC, DJT, Space, X, all those main meme stocks and altcoins, meme coins, you can name them. Get ready to focus on one of them. First one you should focus on is the meme king frenzy, GameStop. Okay, GameStop today shot up 10%. 10% in a day is really good for a stock. If a stock moved 10% a day, you should have been prepared for that move, just because that's a huge difference for you. If you had a different strategy of options or stocks, doesn't matter. 10% is a great move. So we're seeing this up $2.81. And the reason why I say get prepared for the meme season, just because, guys, May is a great month in the summertime for memes. Okay, we've seen in the past that GameStop is always very volatile in the summertime. Just something about the summertime, specifically after Memorial Day. Guys, make sure you get a contract of GameStop before Memorial Day, because I'm kid you not, guys. If y'all wake up in the markets and you see that GameStop is up about 10% again or 20% or something drastically again, don't say I didn't warn you guys. Just because it's just something after a holiday in GameStop, it can shoot up after hours and then in pre-market. Okay, and it might not happen after Memorial Day, but it's gonna happen this year. And the way off the technicals off GameStop right now, we see looks very similar to how Bitcoin is, and it's reaching its all-time high. I mean, that's because it doesn't have as much market cap as Bitcoin. The move still has to go back the same direction towards its all-time high, just like Bitcoin did. And this is showing the best technicals I ever seen in a stock in a long time. I mean, we're seeing 3 higher highs and 3 corrections. Okay, first, this is the bottom right here, which is our support, and then we have another support at $20. This $20 range has not been broken these last 370 days. Maybe on this past year, we've seen this correction is not broken yet, and this is a great sign for an investor. If you want to have a bet, the stock has to stay above a certain level for it to appreciate, right? Now, GameStop is just showing us that we're getting new highs and we're trying to break past $60. And for you to afford option on GameStop, I will put in about 1 band to 500 for one that actually would hit in the amount of time for GameStop for it to be in the money profiting. You want to time these, okay? Just because I feel like the move for GameStop is coming after Memorial Day doesn't mean I'm not going to be prepared for when it doesn't, okay? So I got to have a leap option, one that has extra time just in case something happens with GameStop and it doesn't wake up printing bills on after Memorial Day. So therefore, I'm going to get an option that expires in 2026, okay? Things happen. You always want to think of risk first. So boom, that will cost me about 1,000 right there. And then if you got multiple ways to leverage and you got margin on you, you can increase that. You can get multiple contracts. You can get 10 contracts. But profit for GameStop for per contract, I do see about 4 bands to 8 bands for being that profit net worth of that contract at the end of the day. Okay? Pay attention to GameStop, guys. I'm telling you, as well as AMC. AMC is showing great signs of movement lately, and the reason why I pay attention to these stocks is because when it's time to buy them, it's time to buy them, okay? You could still have opportunity whenever the move happens during the day. It could be shooting up 10 to 15% during the day, and you sell some of your Bitcoin or whatever and buy the contract. But that contract might not go in just because there's lots of people, millions of people around the world spamming that order to get inside that trade as well. And so that's why I tell you guys to get in early so your order goes in. That way, whenever you see that short squeeze happening and price is pushing up higher and you're trying to get inside the trade, you're not kicked out of it and they don't block you or hold you from your trade. So just get these options and let them sit for at least a year, and this move's gonna happen within a year anyway. So as long as you have it, the option was gonna appreciate and do its thing. But just sit on these top 2 contracts, AMC and GameStop, okay? And that's gonna be those 2 main stocks I'm gonna give you at the end of the day. And I'll give you guys one more, DJT. Donald Trump stock right here is showing great technicals as well. We see this nice little double bottom. Price touched $15 in 2025, and then price touched $12 in 2024 during his election. But now, once price touched 15 and these 2 low lows that it supports right here, price quickly bounced, guys. So I know DJT doesn't look like it's moving lately, but whenever I tell you guys that train is coming, don't be too worried about anticipating when a train is coming. Like I tell my people and my subscribers, just be ready for whenever the train comes. That's all you need to do in the stock market. People spend countless of time stressing, countless of money thrown away trying to guess and speculate rather than just being prepared. Okay, if you just think how this simple concept of being prepared for things like this based off technicals and what we read in our data analysis, then you will always be straight, guys. So these 3 memes is the ones you need to be paying attention to, because these are going to print once they start moving towards this all-time highs, $74, especially with DJT. And so we see Donald Trump play part of his tariffs, and once they start actually having an effect on the economy and they're starting to do positive, then we're going to see his company do good, okay? People are going to start buying this company. It's just going to push the price up. Now let's go back to some nice steady growth, but not as much risk stock for you guys to make sure you have eye on for May to finish off this month, but pushing us to start off the next month, June, strong. Okay, TQQQ. This one right here is basically a pro share of overall market share of all the technology stocks inside this one fund ETF right here. So you're getting some of Tesla, you're getting some of Nvidia, you're getting some of AMD, you're getting some of Microsoft, you're getting some of these Fortune 500 tech companies all in this ETF right now. But it's way safe to invest in this one just because it's an ETF. Y'all know ETFs are safe, they're not as risky, but this one has a little bit nice strong growth as well compared to those other ETFs that barely move a dollar. Okay, and if you get this one right here now, even though I've been telling you guys to grab this one while it was at $50, we still good at this price right now at 68. Okay, we good at this price right here just because we still got to go to $90 to $100 this year. So if we can get in at 68 and push up to 100, that's about a 32% return investment if we push past 100 this year, and it's down $24. And the option for this is pretty much affordable just because you can get multiple of them compared to something like Tesla. Okay, now if we can invest, put in about 1,500 to 2,000, we can make a return off 2,500 per contract. Even just buying shares, I see this one right here is a great one to have shares as well, just because it's still below $100. So if you got 10 bands to put invest into it, you got 5 bands to dollar cost average into this one will accumulate growth faster just because you see that ProShare TQQ has nice volatile days. It might be up 5 to 10% a day, and you add that up to 5 days in a row. Now you got 50% up for the week. So this is a great type of moves that we see in TQQ. Y'all know I like to put you guys on nice growth stocks, the ones that have been outperforming. I catch a new look on the markets and I show you guys what I've been learning. So this one right here is called CoreWeave. CoreWeave, I found this one just because Sam Altman, the owner of ChatGPT, was in the press meeting with the government and other Fortune 500 companies like AMD CEO and CoreWeave CEO right here. So basically, CoreWeave's mission is to use machine learning and use research and data to fund AI and really get the whole AI movement and how it works going. So if we know how AI works off machine learning and using algorithms so it can communicate with input and output data to the user. So we need to do research on that so AI can be more efficient for computers off the hardware and the systems that we use. So in order for us to do that research, it has to be a lot of machine learning and algorithms and data put together and test in order for AI to keep evolving how it is. Okay, so now CoreWeave does that research as a company, and you'll see it's given funded by the government. Any company we see getting funded by the government is ones you want to put on our radar just because the government is the ones printing the dollar, guys. Like I said, we got to look at the way a chains of commerce work. It goes from first the person that prints the dollar, it goes to the government. And then after that, it goes to these Fortune 500 companies. After that, you get the scraps and crumbs, okay? It goes to the workers. And now we got to realize that CoreWeave, when I first picked up the stock after watching that video of the meeting with the government and other Fortune 500 companies talking about AI, I seen CoreWeave was at about $63. And I knew CoreWeave had to reach, once it's going towards its all-time high, like I said, guys, it has to reach a new all-time high after it's going near and about to touch its previous high, okay? Now, we seen that CoreWeave went from $61 to $118 in a few weeks after I start seeing this stock and moving, okay? I'm the first time I see run into this stock right here, and people probably already knew about it, which are people up there, and they already know about this company. But this one's barely been an IPO. I mean, we seen it release on the stock market on March 31st, and I ran into it on May 13th. And this is showing you guys that how the stock market, see how fast money moves in the stock market. I mean, hasn't even been a week. This has been 9 days. The stock already doubled. And that's how you know that the demand for AI is the stocks or you want to be looking at right now in 2025 in the next 4 years. Just because the goal for them AI, they want to use AI to be more efficient than humans. I don't necessarily agree with that. I feel like humans are the one that's going to be one that's going to push the innovation for AI. So how are you gonna make the AI be more efficient than humans? That's just making us think that like we're gonna take away our critical thinking and put it more into the system instead of the human putting the creation into the system and using the system as an advantage. You know what I'm saying? Not depending on it. At the end of the day, AI is what these people are pushing forward towards, and we gotta start getting adapted to it and using it as an advantage as well, so we can create our innovation in our own business and our own skills and become the best version of ourselves. We don't have to lean on AI just because what if it just get taken away one day? Okay, what will we do? What if they just turn off our Google Maps? Okay, I see I see how they invested so much into AI right now, just because there's a whole race with China and who's gonna make the best AI system, who's gonna win the AI race. This is just making them throw much and much capital into these AI companies and the ones that's gonna help AI get to where it needs to be. No matter what technologies are needed for AI to run, they're gonna pour money into it. So like I said, this thing is a trend. If you see money where the money is getting put into and people are putting money into it, you should put your money into it too as well, because this is the way the economy works. It works out trends and behaviors. If trend is your friend at the end of the day, and they'll see that CoreWeave in this nice uptrend, it should be buying right now. So if we see this trend is still staying strong, you should be buying as well. $100 is still a good price for a stock. I mean, right now, CoreWeave is like near the price of where Nvidia is at, but even cheaper. And Nvidia has been around, and this one actually helps Nvidia with its graphics cards and how Nvidia gets in AI as well. So at the end of the day, there's multiple companies that use AI so they can develop the research. Not only one company can do all this on its own. ChatGPT can't do it on its own either. It has to be other companies as well that develop this research so they can innovate AI as well. Some of them support the hardware for AI. Some people support the software and the machine learning. Once you start learning how AI works, you can start putting more investments into it. But if you don't understand how AI works, I recommend you do some research and still dollar cost average into AI companies, just because we know that this is getting invested in heavy by the government. Next we got on the list is advanced microchips. Okay, advanced microchip is another one that I seen in that meeting with the government with Sam Altman, the owner of CoreWeaver and the owner of AMD, the CEO. Okay, and now this one right here is one that's gonna provide the hardware and the graphics card and the CPUs for these AI technologies. And like I said, guys, you know how technology works. You need the body of the technology, then you need the mind. The way technology works is God already knows how AI works. AI is nothing spectacular to us. Okay, these people that's putting tons of research and thinking they're the best, smartest person in the world, they didn't do anything. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. AI works is it just pretty much works on how God made us. Okay, He got us a body, which is a frame, and then He got us a spirit, which is the software. So if we have a body, this is the one that be able to move, and it's gonna it's gonna power up our spirit first. So whenever you turn on the ignition, you got the car, right? And then you have the engine that's an electric components that's gonna start the car and really control the components and where it moves and stuff like that. So the same thing with AMD. AMD is pretty much the infrastructure, the power, the equipment of what's gonna fund this AI, and this is gonna be one that's needed right now. As we see, it's really undervalued. We've seen a lot of these AI companies are in there this $100 range, but it's not gonna sit there too long, especially the more they start talking about this race with China. And I like how AMD's been sitting at this range for a good 434 days. It's about a year now, and we got it down at least 50% from its all-time high, and we got it down $109. So if we can put a leap on AMD, currently we sitting on a leap right now. AMD for 2026 of January for about 2,700 right now. It's worth $2,700 right now. So it's still good, low value right now. It's really pretty much undervalued. Before we shoot up for the contract to be worth about 10 bands. Make sure you guys look at the option list for AMD for January 26, or even beyond that. way past 2026 too as well, just because that's a less risky option for you guys. And I can see this one right here taking off just because we're going to get into this AI race. This is going to be the company that's been around last 60 years. If I zoom out, AMD's been around since 1969. Okay, guys? And we don't see companies that's already been out like that besides Intel, IBM. The ones that really started the government started funding before all these new technologies came out. We got to look at the OGs, the ones that's really been laid out a foundation of research and starting from the beginning of technology where it was at to where it is now. So AMD is one of those OGs that you always gonna be good investing in whenever it's down and it's in a correction, and then catching back up to having new all-time highs. So we're seeing a cycle right now. AMD's in that cycle of it being in a correction for people to buy it, and then we can start seeing the cycle of it in a rally and people pushing his price up. I feel like in Tesla this week, even though this week Tesla has been in a cool off, we gotta still look at the past few weeks. Tesla's been on a phenomenal run. I mean, people are getting mad at the owner of Tesla just because he's out there handling business with the Department of Government Efficiency, but then start announcing that he's going to take a break from that and start focusing more on his company. And people always have a lot of slander on this company, but if we just knock out the noise and just focus on the technicals of what Tesla is doing, you could be prepared to make about 10,000 return investment to $8,000 investment if you can just pay attention to the correction that it was in. And a lot of people having a lot of skepticism of the company, but not paying attention to the double bottom that it was doing in the last 2 months. Okay, we still have more room to go back towards the upside if people missed out on this recent rally, but right now it's just on a cool off. So it's gonna perform this nice little cup and handle, or this, it's not even a cup and handle. This is like a bearish flag towards the downside. If I was to make a triangle right here, the price will be going towards the bottom, and then once we see price break out from this flag, let me draw it up for you guys. If price was to break out of this flag right here, which we can see these next few weeks, this will be a great call option right here for you guys for to make at least about 4 to 5 band return investment. But if you can hold it even more with a leap contract, you can catch this whole move for about $14,000 investment option by only investing about $7,000 to $8,000 or $6,000. So we got to pay attention to Tesla, especially as we talk about interest rates getting cut. This interest rate being cut is nothing to be taken, not being prepared for. This is what's going to really spark this summer rally. It's with interest rates. And whenever we start talking about towards June 22nd next month, whenever we might announce the Fed meeting, we're going to start seeing Tesla's going to be ones in those main conversations of it taking off. And I want you guys to get prepared early now and start putting the budget in and saving and investing so we can start getting into this huge momentum of Tesla that's coming towards $400. And once we break down that price, then we can start discussing on where the next move is going to go. But right now, this right here, $340 is a key area of support of buyers for Tesla if you're thinking about trading this move to get a nice lump sum return. And then I'm going to talk about my last one, SMCI. I ain't trying to hold you guys up too long, guys. I can only give y'all games so much, and then you guys can take which one you want out of these plays and just focus on one. Okay, we're not horsemen out here. You can only take one of them and be good at it. That's fine with me. Okay, you ain't gotta be a jack of all trades. That's a BS whenever it comes to investing. You just gotta be a master at one, and then you'll set your generation up for life. Okay, SMCI right here is the same thing as AMD. SMCI provides the equipment, the hardware for these AI companies. It provides the data centers, it provides the servers, and all these, anything you can think of whenever it comes for you to set up the technology for AI to run. SMCI is going to do that. And we've seen SMCI had a huge run up in 2024, but now ever since March 2024, we've seen that SMCI has been nice, a little dip and correction. It's down 65% in the last 437 days, and it's down $80. And like I said, guys, the best stocks to buy is whenever one's that's been in a correction the longest, and it's one that's been beat up the most. That's one that's gonna get you the highest return on investment. The bigger the fall, it has to be the bigger the rise off a good company stock. And this is one of those good ones, just because it's been through so much legal battles, they overcame it. It's been in so much price cycles these last 3 years that this one's still in the uptrend. So everything is looking good for SMCI. It's been added to Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500, and just gonna be one that's gonna continue growing as we talk about this AI race. And I like the way how SMCI is at $40 and it's hit a stock split. Whenever the stock was at $400 and then it announced the stock split, the stock was just trading for too much. Like it went up to 1,000. It was started at trading from $200 when I seen it, and then went up to 1,000, 1,200, and the stock just took off too fast. And that's what you see whenever a stock is about to announce a stock split. Whenever a stock just really just takes off, and that might be CoreWeave. Now that I'm talking about it, CoreWeave might hit a stock split in the next few years. Just because whenever you see stocks that keep gapping up like that, it go from $100 to $300 to $500 to $600, then to 1,000. Those stocks are gonna announce a stock split. So what is a stock split? Y'all telling me a stock split is what a company can do to make a stock more affordable to shareholders. So it can divide the stock by 5, by 4, by 10, depending on the shareholder and what they agreed on. So the stock could be trading 1,000 today, but once they announce the stock split, the stock could be trading by a 10-to-1 ratio. So we divide 1,000 by 10, so stock price will be trading for $100 a share for its investors. So that's what pretty much SMCI did. Now, SMCI is more affordable to $41, but I ain't gonna lie, whenever stocks hit them stock splits, they don't be moving the same, man. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. The stock's not the same. It loses. It doesn't even lose volatility. It just doesn't move the same. Because whenever I seen the stock moving from 400 to 1,000, those were huge gaps fast in a few days. But now SMCI, the thing will barely move like $1. We see it's down only 33 cents today. Like it barely moves sometimes. But whenever it stocks moves and the train comes, like I said, guys, you just gotta be ready. And this is how stocks are nowadays in 2025. Some of them after the stock split. You see, Amazon is the same way too. Before the Amazon stock split, boy, man, that thing was probably one of the best companies to be invested in trading at the time. But that's just another conversation before the stock split stocks and stuff like that and how they move. But SMCI is still a great one to be buying just because it still has that potential to run too as well. You just gotta be prepared for it. And this one right here is gonna be ready to start getting back into that bull rally. We went from $29 to $45 within a week, and now this week we have a cool off. So, like I said, guys, stocks just don't move straight up in a line. We gotta catch that correction after we missed the whole rally. So right now is the time for us to get back in. That's gonna cap it for today's video, guys. I appreciate you guys for watching to the end. And make sure you guys comment, like, subscribe, favorite part of the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all stay care. Y'all stay blessed, man.